What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Karate Talk. With me, I have my instructor, Sensei James Fortner.
How you doing, guys?
And today, he's been gracious enough to let me interview him. I'm going to ask him some questions, and we'll see if we can dive into his brain a little bit and see what he has to say. So first off, you want to tell the people how you got started in martial arts?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I have been in martial arts since I was 10 years old. And I actually got into martial arts by accident. What happened was, my brother was getting picked on in school. When you're involved in any sort of activity, you've always got the main one that's taking it, then the plus one. Well, I was the plus one. Ended up, after being the plus one, I ended up loving it. And so I was in martial arts, at one school, then went to another associate school there for a while, then they shut down, and I took about 9 years off to play college baseball, start a family, and then back about 2002, got back into it, finished up and got my black belt, was there, helped run things for close to 10 years, and then once we had a parting of ways and started our own school, Tri-State Martial Arts, and been running for close to 5 years.
And that's pretty much where I come into the picture.
That's right.
As we all know, I came into your picture probably halfway through 2012.
Yeah.
So, what was your first opinion of me? Because, as you know, I came in with a prior background.
That's right.
And so, but we all know I had some rust that I was trying to shake off. Because I wasn't training seriously at that point for close to 4 years. But I was still keeping up with what I did know, making sure I didn't lose the technique. But we all know that, you don't go to a class, you will develop some rust, whether it's intentional or not.
Sure.
So after me coming in about 4 years past due, per se, what was your opinion of me as a martial artist and as a
You were
student?
very, very rusty. You could tell you had some training, had some skills from somewhere, and that's just the way it is. When you've got someone that comes from another martial arts background in another school, you can about tell within the first little bit if they've had some sort of training or not. You can tell if they've had good instruction. You can tell. There's just a lot of things you can tell just upon first. You can tell you had good instruction. You can tell you had some knowledge behind you, but you can tell you've been out for a little while. So, and the good news about that is once you've got somebody into the training aspect of it, it takes you maybe a couple classes to a couple weeks before you really get the rust off of it, and you take all that mental knowledge you have off the shelf, dust it off, and open it back up, and it really starts coming back into almost like riding the bike again, so to speak. So you could tell you had some training, you had some good knowledge, but you could tell you've been out for a while, and so that was, and that's basically where it was, and then you came in, you really started, getting your form back and really getting back in the swing of things again, and you really have developed yourself into a great ambassador of what we do.
And I really appreciate that. I mean, I don't think you've ever said that in that kind of way, and it really makes me feel good that you feel that way. So, whenever I approached you with the idea of wanting to be an actor and do action movies and wanting to run my own classes, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? I was a little apprehensive, and whether it's for the fact of your ability or your drive or anything like the success, it's just you have in Hollywood. People want to do movies. There are millions of people that want, and it is such a narrow field to get into with limited amount of opportunities, but a ton of people want to get into it. So I was hopeful for you, and I'm still hopeful for you because I think you have a ton of opportunity. I think you have the ability to do it. It's just finding the right opportunity, finding the right person that will give you that opportunity. It's just like anything, like finding a job. The best jobs you got are the ones that, if you know the right person. I've had plenty of those opportunities myself. So, from that aspect, I think you have all of the opportunities and the ability to do it. You just find that opportunity to make sure that it happens. So, from the other one, the school part. Same thing, I think you've got all the ability in the world to do it. I think you've got, the experience to do it. It's just, having someone to lead you and guide you and mentor you, because running a school or even trying to get into an acting opportunity or anything like that, it takes someone that has either been there or had done that to lead you down that road. That's why, when I train my black belts, especially when they get to be first dan, one of the things I always try to have them do is to make sure when they go from first dan to second dan, I won't put a second dan on their waist until I know for sure that they can run a school. Pure and simple, no hands there. And if they don't have the physical, not only physical meaning monetary ability, or the maturity aspect, or anything, won't put it on. Like I'll give you a good example. I've got a guy right now. He is a first degree black belt. I will not put a second degree black belt on because he doesn't have the maturity aspect to run a school. Because when I put a second dan on you, I firmly believe that you can go run a school on your own, top to bottom. And right now, that person, I don't feel they can do it. So they may know all the techniques, blocks, strikes, climbs, everything they need to know, but that, to me, that is the most important factor, because most people at second dan give them the authority to start running schools. And so if I don't feel that that person can do it, I'm not going to do it. So now, do I think you have the ability to do it? Yes, I do. And you have actually run your own school, back in Oklahoma. So, but I will say that I think that we can even tweak what you know and tweak how you do things to even make it even more successful down the road. So I think again, people that are learning, that are students of anything, are like molded clay, unmolded clay. So we just got to mold that clay to make sure we get you, in the right form where me or whatever you need to make you successful, and both factors.
And then going back to training and actual training in schools, what do you think the qualities to have a good instructor? What do you think it takes to be a good instructor in your own words?
Oh, well, the first thing you gotta have is knowledge. Okay, you gotta have the knowledge and the experience and I don't want to use the word pedigree because pedigree is not the right word. I think you've got a lot of people out there that will, for lack of better words, have, if they've been in a martial arts school or trained for 6 months, I've got enough knowledge to start a school. It's more than that. I think you've got to have the certification. You've got to have the right knowledge. I think not only do you have to be a good knowledge martial arts, I think you got to have a good business knowledge. Because, the one thing I feel like that's made us a success here is I've treated this thing like a business. I've got my degree. You don't have to have your degree in business or your MBA like I've got. You just got to know, a dojo is like a business. It's like a living, breathing animal. It's like having a pet. If you don't feed it, you don't water it, you don't take care of it, it's not going to do well. And a lot of people are either good instructors or they're good business people. Very rarely do you have a combination of both. And that's what I really try to enforce on my instructors, black belts, and people that are affiliated with my schools. Whether they're starting their own school or I'm molding them into potential future runners of their own school one day, is the notion of, you've got to have the good knowledge and to be able to teach these students to get them where they need to be. But the other part of it, you got to have the marketing ability. You got to have the financial ability to be able to balance budgets. Don't spend more than what you need. So you've got to have a good combination of both.
Okay. And when you're training, I know there's a lot of schools that claim they teach one style, claim they teach another. And part of what our organization is founded on is taking the best of everything and kind of combining it.
True.
And there's a lot of schools that focus on, like you have karate, they'll have some sweeps and they'll have some throws, but they're primarily striking. And if you find a taekwondo school, primarily an Olympic style taekwondo school, they'll focus on kicks, and sometimes you'll have some forms thrown in there.
Yeah.
And with jiu-jitsu, you'll have straight up grappling, and you won't hardly see a punch or kick thrown. And with us, we try to incorporate all those different elements.
Yeah.
So why is it exactly you think it's important to have all of these skills under one?
Honestly, the best word I can usually call it is the one word, potpourri. All right, and that's a very unusual word to put into it, but to be good at anything, you have to have a very well-rounded education. Let's take basketball for example. Okay, to be a good basketball player, you got to be able to block, you got to be able to run, you got to be able to shoot, you got to be able to have good endurance, you got to be able to shoot free throws, you got to be able to play good defense. All those things together. If you're very strong in a couple of those things, but not, your game's not going to be as good. It's the same thing here. A lot of styles are just, they focus a lot on stand-up, they focus a lot on kicks. Some of them have, they limit themselves on takedowns or different aspects of it. So my mindset has always been to, if you're going to learn something, always try to be, learn as much as you can. Never just limit yourself just to one discipline. And that's just the way I've always learned. I've studied jiu-jitsu off and on. I've studied Aikido. I've studied Kung Fu. I've studied Chinese. if you're, and the mindset I had for these schools were that if you're not learning, you're not growing. Being a martial artist, you should be learning and growing out an everyday process, every day. So, like for example, we've got a new gentleman here, Stephen Lee. He's got a background eskrima. He's got some Sai background. He's got some Taekwondo background. He's got some karate and some other backgrounds. So, he's new to our schools. He's learning from us, but we're also learning from him as well. And I've had students come in here all the time. Some of them will stuck around and some of them have not. And those people are the people, that you should always, don't ever think that you can't learn. Some of the worst grandmasters or head of schools I've ever had were those people that basically said, you can't teach me anything, I can't learn anything more. And there's no more I can learn. Wrong. I don't believe that at all. I mean, yes, I'm the head of these schools, but I'm not going to sit here and limit myself to say, hey, look, even you, from your Shotokan background, I'm sure that there's going to be some things as we pick your brain a little bit that I'm like, okay, I like that. Plug it in somewhere. If I have someone that's had some Aikido, I like that. Plug it in. Like with Mr. Steven, he's got some Sai work I'm going to put in. He's got some short stick or eskrima work we're going to put in. As well as some open hand stuff we're thinking about putting in somewhere. So you always keep your mind open. The one thing I had a former friend of mine tell me one time is to always learn something new every day, no matter how big, how small, no matter what avenue. Whether it be something as small as trivia or just learn something new every day. And that's where that comes from. Is to expand your knowledge, expand your mind. Always be able to absorbing knowledge and because that's where it's going to make you grow, and that's where it's going to make you the best martial artist.
Okay, one last question before we go ahead and get out of here. What do you see, both for me in terms of personal goals for me, and where do you see these schools in 5 years' time?
Lord, you know what? You personally, always be grabbing for knowledge. Always keep, the one thing you gotta have is passion and drive to do your very best in everything you want to do, whether it be acting, whether it be, in your martial arts, in your job, when you've got a family down there, have that passion, have that drive. Always have goals. This is what I want to do. Look for those goals and try to achieve them. That's what martial arts is about. It's those intangible benefits that we have. And not just our style, every style should be. And should be if they're training their students right. But there's some schools out there that don't and just are looking for make a buck. As far as these schools go, you know what? We've been here 5 years. I've had 2 schools, and I would like eventually, to find good quality people that would love to expand these schools into different areas. Like I said, Braden, I think once he gets his black belt in our system, he could start a tri-state school somewhere in Virginia. If I find good enough people, I'm not very impatient as far as, we need to have 10 schools in 5 years' time. Take your time, and just bring the benefits of martial arts to this area, because where we live in this area, it's not been one of the forefront things that have been marketed in the forefront. It's either been high school sports, whether from a kid's aspect, there's not really been shown the benefits of what we do, and not just for our schools and of what we offer, but our MMA, our different things, because the goal of these schools and the studio and our studios is to allow people to pursue their dream, and that dream is whether it be gymnastics or dance or martial arts or whatever, to be able to teach their passion. So not only do we want to expand what we're doing, we want to expand what other people are doing as well, because other people have dreams too, and I'm about trying to help people expand their dreams as well as yours and not everyone else's.
Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you for the interview.
No problem, man.
And hopefully, mind telling the guys where they can find you on social media.
If you can look us up on Tri-State Freestyle Martial Arts or Tri-State Freestyle Martial Arts Primal Dojo. You can also look us up at tsfsma.com, or you can send me a Facebook request on Sensei James Fortner. That's about the best place you can have. And then you can, we got our phone numbers. You can message on Facebook. Got questions, and come by and see us. We've got a location in Millsboro, Kentucky, here at Millsboro Mall, which is where we are now. Or you can come down to Odie's Gym in Pineville, Kentucky, and hopefully we come into a town near you.
And I'll be leaving links to the description for all the Facebook page and your personal page. That way, if anybody has any questions, they can message you.
Absolutely.
And I will leave all those links in the description down below.
Absolutely.
Hope you guys have a great day. Stay training.
Hey, stay warm, fellas.